and it's just like a little reminder of like what you need to do, what you need to consider in order to be able to do something like I will say that nobody needs to be super creative in order to just have a beautiful display. You know, as long as you're willing to try, that's all you need to do, you know, and it takes a few times and then you start getting a little more comfortable. And then before you know it, you're going to be putting stuff that you didn't even think of in the first place, right? Like today, as I'm running around trying to get the last few items put together, I bump into a little snow globe that my husband has as a nightstand. And I was like, oh, this will look adorable in a tablescape, you know? So it's fair game to reach for things that maybe you have placed in certain areas of your home to decorate, let's say, the restroom, you know, the bathroom, or a little nightstand, or you have something on your patio. And then if you're hosting and you have the one-time occasion where you like to dress up your table a little bit more, you can always grab those little things, you know, and place them there. Don't be afraid of thinking, oh, well, now that place is going to look empty, because reality is that those items weren't really there the rest of the year, right? So it should look fine. Plus, this will encourage everybody to spend a little more time at the table. And it happened to me many times before where I set up my table and when people first arrive, they just feel very special. So it's all about creating this environment of creating a memorable dining experience that you don't need fancy stuff, or you don't need to be in a fancy restaurant in order for you to do it, or you don't need to have more than, you know, a couple of you joining for dinner. And I say this because mainly it's me and my husband at the dinner table, and that doesn't stop me from trying to do a tablescape, you know, for the two of us, because every day is a special day. And we should always celebrate life and special moments with the people that we love, right? So that being said, I don't know if Sylvia, you can help me display the presentation.
Okay, so on the bottom of your screen, you should see share screen.
Oh, okay, because I have it now in my iPad.
You're in Zoom on your iPad, so.
Yeah, because I wanted to be able to move around and have you guys take a closer look of things here.
Sylvia, do we all go to share screen or just her?
No, just her. Just
okay.
present. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why is it not letting me do this again? Look at that.
Are you on your iPad and you're hitting share screen?
I think the hostess is supposed to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's how, yeah.
Really? No, I would be sharing my screen then. Oh, wait a minute. I think I have to transfer. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let's get out of here.
And right here, I got a message on my desktop that it says,
have to
meeting host to let you in soon.
Oh, yeah, there you are. I thought I did already, but okay. Now what are you seeing?
Okay, now I see everybody out here. Okay. Okay. So I do have my presentation here, but then you said I need to click on
share screen at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't see that because I'm not the host.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
I did send the presentation on your email earlier today, just in case something like this happened.
Let's see how I can get you. Oh, always so much fun.
In the
How many-
center of your screen, you do not see share screen at the very bottom?
No,
Because I
it
see
says
it on mine.
leave.
Sylvia, on your share screen, there should be a drop down that lets you allow other participants to share their
Oh,
screen.
that's what it is. Okay, yes. Okay, I hit share screen. And I think it's under advanced. Is it under share content from second camera?
No,
Yeah, I have now the option of sharing it, but it says host disable attendee screen sharing.
Oh. All right, Marie, you're really great at this. How do I?
when you go down to share screen, is there a drop down? That
Oh, here, hold on. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there's that little arrow.
Yes,
That's what it was. So it's under advanced sharing options,
probably.
and I can just say all participants.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. That should work.
Okay.
Thanks, Marie. Now do you see it? Now can you do it? Aha! Yes.
Okay. So here it is. What's tablescaping? Tablescaping is the act of creatively and intentionally arranging a tabletop so that it conveys a specific theme, mood, or experience. So with that being said, is basically you can do this at any time. It doesn't have to be a special holiday, right? So what we're going to learn here today is a resourceful way to create a beautiful tablescape by redesigning artificial greenery holiday decor by adding natural greenery, fruits, and lighting for an enjoyable holiday atmosphere at home. And we're going to get to the part where we're going to practice what we're learning right now. So there's only a few steps you need to follow. Number one, determining your needs, how many guests you're gonna have, what type of food you're serving, will be the dinner be buffet style or sit down, what kind of drinks you're serving, kind of glasses you need, etc. Then choose your color palette. Look at the dishware that you're using, the serving trays, linens, is there a dominant color? There's ways to add sparkle with glass, crystal, and metallic elements. Then we're gonna do number 3, include lift and levels, such as like a cake stand or candle holders or a general decorative element, including florals to just create like a level, you know, visual. And then we're gonna personalize with either menu cards, placeholders, place card holders, or seasonal decor. And last but not least, number 5, repurposing. So we're gonna look for items around our home, garden, little backyard, front yard, whatever you wanna do, or even the closet to find new ways to reutilize certain things that you have. You know, you might have an old scarf thing in your closet. You might have maybe a necklace or something in your jewelry box that you can, you know, repurpose just by having it display at the table. You would be surprised what you can come up with. And then this is actually a resource website, colorhunt.co, which is a way for you to look for color palettes, right? Because sometimes you might find yourself thinking, well, how do I, you know, make a combination of colors and have still have contrast but not look tacky, but then match, and etc. So this is just a sample of what you can find, but there's thousands of color palettes that you can look at. They're free, and you could just log in and you can even download them and save them, save your favorites, and you can click on adding, you know, the ones you like a little bit more if you don't have that much computer space or whatever. So colorhunt.co, that's a great way to look into it. And then, and tell me if am I going too fast? Okay, because I guess we're gonna take a little bit more time when we start doing the practice itself. This is just more of an overview of what we're gonna look into, right? And then how to set the table. So right now on your screen, it should be looking at 2 ways to do it, the formal way and the informal. Some people rather do the informal just because then you don't have to pull out a lot of things from, you know, your pantries or whatever. But I mean, I personally find myself doing that a lot more. But again, it's gonna depend on what is it that you're serving, right? If you're gonna have soup, if you're gonna have napkin, salad, or if you're gonna have dessert later on. So that being said, I mean, you see right there is very easy to understand where the dessert spoon goes, a cake fork, etc. If you're just doing ice cream, you know, then maybe there's no need for you to put the cake fork there, right? But they're just preferences. And there's nothing wrong with you removing some of that items that you might see in the normal one. Like maybe you don't want a water glass, you just want the wine glass for red. You know, you might not need the white. But if you're hosting and you don't know what your guest will prefer, I would suggest for you to set both wine glasses, and once they sit down and they all just do wine, red wine, then you can remove your table. But as it is, when you first receive your guests, have all your table, and depending on what they're going for, then you remove the stuff. I know it's a little more work, but the silverware and the glassware and all that stuff adds on to creating that special atmosphere that we're looking to have, right? And then the next situation. So you might find yourself living in a small place, like myself, I live in a condo. So I need to find ways to save space. For me, space is very, very, very much important. So I tend to go for items that are very neutral. That way I don't have to worry too much about having 5 different colors of napkins. And a way for you to keep refreshing that look of the napkin is how you present it. So we're gonna check out a few options, you know, nothing crazy, just tying a little bit of here and there. And I'm sure that some of you might already done some of this, but it's just more of visual, so you can see how a little tiny change can make a difference. And then it just, you know, the more you do little things like this, the more you sparkle that creativeness in your brain. And then you're gonna think, oh, maybe I can move this other thing here too, because just switching this from the right to the left, it gives you a different perspective. And before you know it, you're gonna be mastering a tablescape. And then now we're gonna put in practice what we just talked about here. So I'm gonna try, can I share now my iPad? Do I need to stop sharing my desktop in order for me to jump on the other screen?
I believe that's true, because you're coming from a different device.
Yes.
There, okay.
Okay, so here I am in my dining space. Let me turn around the screen. Okay, so here I have my table, right?
Okay.
And I live in a condo, so I'd actually move the table so you guys could easily see it. Otherwise, it's a little more tucked in on the back of the room. So I just wanted to have enough room to move around.
Can you make it a full page?
Like this, you mean? Like flip
No, like
my,
you did when you were showing your PowerPoint.
oh, it was not giving me an option.
You have to go to speaker view. We have to go to speaker view instead of gallery view. So you can see it.
Right, because on mine it's
Oh.
shown.
Go to
The
speaker view.
sharing.
I think that's the upper right corner.
Yeah, just go to speaker view.
Zoom. Let's see.
I'm getting a full screen.
Notifications will be recorded.
Carla, I don't think you can do
Each
anything.
individual person has to set it to
Yes.
speaker view. It's
Mhm.
not Carla's.
Yeah.
You go up to gallery view and then
Click on speaker view.
review. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just gives me an option of like start a broadcast or screen broadcast.
Carla, it's not you.
Yeah.
Every one of
Okay.
us that are observing have to set our screens that way.
There you go.
So, okay. So right now, do I then stop this other option, or is it bigger, or no? Is it the same?
Carla's
You
iPad.
can stop sharing. Stop sharing.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds great. Okay. Well, these are the new complications of not commuting to work, right? Yeah. So, Laura, puedes venir un segundito por aquí. I'm going to have Laura hold the screen so I can work over here. ¿Me la detienes aquí, por favor? Sí, sí. A ver. De la otra manera, al revés, para acá. ¿Para acá? Porque hago la pantalla.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Ok.
Nada más que, ajá, tienes el dedo en el dedo aquí.
Ahí, Carlita.
Ajá, sí.
¿Así?
Si quieres, sí, si quieres aquí, siéntate porque hay.
Ok. Ok.
Okay, guys. So, I have prepared several things here for you to see. And so like I said, I live in a condo, and I had come up with ways of saving space by not necessarily buying specific things like, let's say, a tablecloth. In this case, when I was looking for something to dress a table, I didn't have one, right? So, well, I have a runner, very neutral. But then I realized that I have this little throw. It's a very light throw that I usually put by the TV so we can, you know, keep a little bit warm. But then I thought, okay, we can use it over here. And you might think, okay, well, it's too small, right? But this is the beautiful thing about tablescaping. You can do whatever you want and nothing is wrong. In this case, since this is actually a little bit smaller, what I'm gonna do is just place it like halfway like this to give it a little bit more of a, you know, movement, right? And that way, once we start setting everything, I might find other elements that I can place on this side to balance out that we have something on this side, but we don't have something here. So we'll get there. So I figured it's gonna be very common for anybody to have a garland at home, right? It can be an old garland, it can be a new garland, it doesn't matter. In this case, I have one that it's pre-lit, and I actually added these little ornaments that I just got at TJ Maxx for like $5.99, and that way it gives it a little bit more of a holiday, you know, element, and adds more light to it, because sometimes you'll find yourself, especially in my home, you might notice that my furniture is really dark and I have dark walls. So in this case, I would like to add some stuff that will have a little bit of a bling, so it just, you know, doesn't look so dark and moody, right? So in this case, I'm placing this garland over here, and you can place it as you want. You can do it straight, or you can do it a little bit with movement. I like things with a little movement and sway. I just think it gives it a little bit more of a, you know, natural feeling instead of being so symmetrical. And then what I had purchased, at Safeway, I got some natural greenery here that I wanted you guys to look at, because we can always add greenery to an artificial garland to make it look more natural. You can leave it like this, or you can add it, but in this case, we're gonna add some so you can take a look. So it's very simple, and don't be afraid of making a mistake, because like I said, everything is fair game. So I'm just basically tucking in. Laura, me acerques aquí para enseñar. So I just want you guys to see a little bit up close. So basically, I'm just gonna tuck in some of these natural ferns and cedar and this magnolia branch that is really, really beautiful. And see how beautiful this is? This is all natural, you guys. So we're gonna put this, if I have a little more things over here, and honestly, well, we can cut this in two to make it a little bit bigger. So we're gonna cut right in the middle. I don't know if you can appreciate it, right there. Cut in diagonal. It's gonna be easier, right? And then we're just gonna tuck it in. See how beautiful that is? And it doesn't really need much. We can make a third one over here as well. Again, I do the same thing. Try to cut closer to the one leaf so you can have a little bit more of a stem. Okay. So I'm gonna put this and try to hide these little things that I have from the lighting. Okay. So you can just place it right there, and it doesn't need to be tied up. ¿Sí se ve? Okay. Okay. Sorry, you guys. Laura's saying she put a finger somewhere on the screen, so she apologizes.
Okay, así está mejor.
And then we're gonna have this over here, just to have something in the middle. So we have something on the ends, both ends, and something in the middle. So as you start putting your greenery, you will wanna do, I have one here on the right and then on the left, and then you want to put something here on the right as well. So gonna do the same thing, just tucking this in. And you know, as I'm moving all of this, it smells so lovely, so Christmassy. And some of this stuff will last you a couple of days before it starts looking crispy, which is fine. Again, right here, I'm gonna do, to get a few more pieces of this, cut it right there. And these like branches over here, you can remove them. A little bit stiff. But nothing is waste. You can place these little things over here. So don't you think that you need to throw this stuff out? And it will depend all on your preference. You know, some people might like more minimalistic things. Some people like something more thick and lush. I think I tend to go for the lush and the thick stuff. And you don't have to use it all. So in this case, look how beautiful these are. Actually, I might just want to leave these like here and add the seeded eucalyptus, which is tinted in this case. I bought this bunch at Safeway again. If you guys want to go and take a look of your local Safeway, I'm pretty sure they're going to have something very similar. And it was $9.99. So this, you see the contrast over there? We can actually make a couple of pieces to make it, to spread it out. Trying to get this guy to not cover the pine cones. I love the pine cones. And then again, you try to balance out some of the color. In this case, we have a way to also split here this big branch, like right there. You see, I'm gonna cut it right there so I can use this and have a second little bush, but we don't need the excess of branches. So there you go, you see a little touch of color. And I think I'm gonna go here at the end for this to try to cover some of that other stuff, right? So it gets a little bit messy. You can do this someplace else in your kitchen and then move to the table. In this case, because we're limited with time and space, that's how we're gonna do it. And I'm just gonna keep this guy close by. We can always put it somewhere. You can probably rearrange it a little bit more, but that's for next occasion. But again, nothing, it's wasted. You can place it somewhere else. So now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna wipe the table really quickly to continue with the rest of the stuff. Give me 1 second, please.
Nice.
If you guys have any questions right now, as I clean, so we can also make the most out of your time, feel free to start asking me questions. Don't be shy.
You know how to unmute yourself, everybody? By touching your screen and just saying unmute.
Well, I would like to say I like the idea of the flat garland, because so many times in the past I've made centerpieces and they're too high and then people can't see each other across the table, so I end up having to get up and remove it. So I like this garland idea. So.
Well, as you can see, it's like super cozy. And it will last you a couple of days, looking very nice. But I mean, if it's not in water, obviously it's gonna start drying out, right? So now,
No.
Oh.
Beautiful.
so now what we're gonna do is place some of these elements. And like you just said, sometimes you end up putting too much stuff and it might get on the way. So this is something that I usually do with my husband. I tend to have the stuff on the side. You don't necessarily have to put everything right here. So in this space, as you can see, I'm still with this empty area, you can call it. So what I'm gonna do is create a little bit of level, and I'm gonna bring to the table, I have this cutting board that someone sent us as a gift. It's customized with our name, our last name. So I'm just gonna bring this to the table. And then you can have that little cluster of decor right here. So, and it's not in the middle, right? So you can have your taller element on the one end, and then just to kind of give a little bit of you can put one on the top, and again, the levels, right? One on the top and one on the bottom. And we can have this little guy here on this side, you know? And you get it close to the garland so it doesn't take up space, because again, it's going to depend how many people you're hosting. You might say, okay, well, I'm hosting 6 people, so I need to have 2 people on both ends. But then if it's only 4, you can get away with doing what I just did, right? So now that you have this, we're going to add a few extra stuff. Like I have these wooden snowflakes. I got these at TJ Maxx. I think they were like $4.99 and $3.99 or something like this. I like rustic stuff. And again, I tend to gravitate towards things that are natural. So I know that if at some point they end up not being useful, which I find it really hard for me to believe I'm gonna dislike these in the next 10 years, I don't think so. I'm at least with peace of mind that this is going to be something that is biodegradable, right? So it's not plastic or anything like that. It's actual wood. So I have these little things, these little accents that will complement this cutting board, right? So that way you can just add them you know, of your table. And again, I'm gonna add something here on this end to kind of keep company, this little Christmas tree over here. And then I'm gonna have this guy over here, because remember, having to do one side, one side, one side, just to start balancing out the wreath, the garland, I'm sorry. And now there are things that I'm pretty sure everybody has at home, such as pine cones. So why don't we just grab a few pine cones? I have this little basket that I use to just decorate pine cones. And again, these pine cones, I had them for years. Some people start thinking, well, these are the ones that have the cinnamon smell. Some people just think after a few seasons they don't smell anymore, but that doesn't mean that you need to get rid of them. And then other people will say, well, they look so dirty. Well, guess what? You can just rinse them off. So every season before I store them again, I actually rinse them. I will take them to my reuse them the following years. Some years, some of these pine cones might make it to my Christmas tree. You know, I like to place pine cones on my Christmas tree. Some other years it will make it to my tablescape. Some others to my backyard. If I'm having people in my little backyard over there, I can put together something like this with leftover stuff. Like you have this random cinnamon stick right here, but it's just so festive. And again, reusing stuff. So since the garland already had a few pine cones, you don't need to add too many, because then it's gonna start getting too big. And these can just be placed on top because of the natural design of the pine cone. It tends to help you kind of get, you know, a little grip on stuff without necessarily having to attach them, right? So like this little guy, just put it right there. And then that's it. I mean, for now, I only needed 3 because, again, the garland already had a few. So I'm going to put this on the side. And as you already see, this already has lighting. But you can always add a few more extra to make it cozy and intimate. And it can either be just, you know, nostalgic, or it can be romantic, whatever. Candles are always a great element to add. So in this case, I'm gonna now balance this other end of the garland, and I'm placing my light over there. So guess where is the next one going? Any clues? Here, right? Yeah. And then where would this little guy go? Here, right? So again, we go back to creating a little bit of movement, and that way it's not dull. And lastly, if you have something, this was for, I actually got this one for the backyard, but I really like it. And again, I mean, this is the kind of style that I have at home. It's very rustic. So I also buy these candles that are pre-lit, but they have the, so not pre-lit, sorry, the flicker light. You can find these at Hobby Lobby. They're a little bit pricey, but you can always use the 40% discount for the one regular price item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it here. And another interesting thing is that, where do you place it? Okay, so if you have this guy here, just push this guy a little bit back to create depth, okay? And then that way it's not all on the same, look how different it looks if they're all on the same, you know, eyesight level. So let's just move this a little bit, and you have this big cutting board, so use the space, right? Have these.
Would you have all of this out at the same time?
What's that?
Would you have all of this out at the same time?
Well, it depends what kind of event you're hosting. You know, I'm actually going for a more Christmassy day. Sometimes you just don't need to do all this. Let's say tonight my husband and I are going to have our Christmas dinner because we're traveling home to see my parents, and we're not going to get to have our one-on-one Christmas. So what I would do, I would just like get rid of this, and well, I already have the garland in this place, but I can just put this garland back to my mantle over here, and I can just keep this little cluster of things so I have room on the table and just keep lighting. So
Okay, that makes
what
sense.
is it that you're looking for?
Yeah.
And I figured, you know, it's always easy to, again, it goes back to reutilizing what you just did. You can maybe later put this section over there in the patio, or you can just use this garland in the mantle, or you can just keep it right here and just enjoy it as much as you can. So now, that basically you can say that is taken care of, you know, the actual decor. Then it comes to the table setting. I have these chargers. You might not need one. It's okay. I mean, I actually got these for a special occasion. Sometimes you might find yourself that you only have 3 pieces, you know, because maybe you're thinking, oh, well, there's usually 2 people sitting down at our table. I don't need to buy 6 of them, right? So later you can use those to actually serve the food, and you can put here a hot pot of something or whatever, or you can use it as a charger. Again, trying to save space and reutilizing these elements to create something different every time. So now, and just for demonstration purpose, I'm going to be placing 2. Okay, with just white plates. One thing that I found myself doing is getting different salad plates, because again, I don't have a lot of space, so I get a very neutral plain plate, and then I add different salad plates, and that way I don't have to store a whole set of dining items, which makes me realize I forgot the fruit, you guys. So I got these little clementines, because we're talking about fruit and things that you can later, just for a touch of color. And it's super festive and Christmassy. You can have a little clementines, balance them out. You see how they go from one side to the other. And later, after you had people over, you can eat them, right? Again, it's decorating without wasting. And here, okay, so going back to the table placing, since you might think, okay, the table is already a lot, you know, I don't think I need to put a lot more, it's so much work. Well, you can just keep it simple. You can put your plates, and then you can add your napkins. So the typical, right, the typical ring, you just grab your ring, pull it through, and that's it, right? Or you can have this is the napkin. You fold it. I'm pretty sure everybody has done this at some point. You put it like this, right? Or you can do another different thing, which is you have your napkin like this, and what we're gonna do is just tie a knot. And it depends on like what style you're going for. This is a little more informal and rustic, and then you can place it like that on your table. So it's very simple things, but it just shows that you're trying to do something different, and that like I said, everything is fair game. And then once you have that, we're gonna add your silverware, which again, you might be doing soup, you might be doing, there you go, steak. So in this case, well, we're doing a steak knife, right? And we're gonna have there a fork, because we're having a soup. And in this case, there's no salad really, but you're gonna have ice cream and cake for dessert. So we're gonna put these two guys like this. And that way you don't set the whole table like the other way, and it still looks very fancy. So in this case, this is just another example, right? That it's not the steak knife. And in this case, you might not have any dessert, so you don't need to place the other two guys right here on top. But at least you see it dresses the table up.
Ajá. Qué bonito. Beautiful.
So like, let's say I have here another thing that you might want to display at your table. In this case, maybe we can put it right here on this end, like I was saying. So you can have here your cake as part of your decor, right? And maybe, you know, this candle, well, let's place it over here. I don't have anything right here on the mantle right now, so let's find it at home right now on the mantle. So again, my needs changed, so you can move things around as your night develops. And the extra touches, I did this little project, which I've never done before. Smells really beautiful. It has cloves. And then you're gonna put this like over here, kind of like for a little cozy touch. These, again, you can just throw them, and I had this earlier in my stovetop boiling, and it was very beautiful and smelled really pretty, very Christmassy. And then last but not least, your glassware, right? So in this case, we're just having red wine, so we're gonna have this over here. But as you can see, it just dresses the table so much, and you don't have to have everything so formal with so much stuff when it comes to glassware or silverware. I personally rather do this. I enjoy it a lot more. You would be surprised what's the feeling if when you sit down at a table like this and you spend time with your family. It just encourages conversation and quality time together. And I hope you enjoyed looking at this. And if you have any questions so far, let me know, because then we can move on to the wrapping present part of it. So are there any questions? Okay.
I just wanted to share something that years ago my mom taught me. Was when we would get the greens from outside, she would have some hot wax. It could be from a candle. She would dip the ends, the cut ends, into the wax. Supposedly it was supposed to help keep it moist, you know, so that it wouldn't dry out as fast. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, and actually some of the local flower shops do that already. So in this case, I mean, I just went ahead and cut it. but you can always try doing that yourself. I've never done it myself just because I tend to put stuff in water anyways. And I keep my vase very clean. I wash it every other day. And I also use the food for the greenery or the flowers, and they last me 2-3 weeks that way alone. But I do buy my florals for the most part from the market, the flower market up in downtown Phoenix. So it's very good quality stuff, fresh stuff. And like I said, they actually do that before they sell it to people. But in this case, you went directly to your garden and did it. For instance, I do have a rosemary bush over here too. That's something that you can always go and grab if you have, and you know how they grow so much. You can go ahead and get just rosemary alone, and it's so fragrant, it's so beautiful that you don't have to go buy $10 bunch of greenery at Safeway. So you can reach out for sure. I think there's a neighbor that has a pine tree. You can just go and ask if you can get a branch, and you can do that as well without spending the $10. Any other questions or comments? Does any of you guys can see yourselves doing it at home?
I just wanted to comment that I suggested the ladies get their greens from the Christmas farm on 32nd and Chandler. They were giving them away free. I said, so how much can I take? I have a truck. And he said, so take a truckload. I go, okay. So if anybody wants some, they're in my trash can sitting in water right now. So I have extra if you want some.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Right? And you support small local businesses. So that's great. I was running out of time and I'm having to go to Safeway to grab it. But otherwise, most likely I would have gone and trimmed actually the rosemary bush I have right here where I live. But it's a common area. So, you know, you can get in trouble if you just go and put something out, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, this is part of like the Christmas tablescape. I just wanted to add a few more extra things, just again, so you can see how you can repurpose things and just have fun on it. These are candle votives, right? But I have these artificial succulents that I got this one at Pier 1. And I just basically, if you want to add a little bit of the deserty element, these are actually real. These are natural succulents. So you can do a mix of the real thing and the fake thing, and it just looks even more real. And you can just change it up, you know. You might want to remove the fruit and not have that, or you might just not even want to add that. But just again, so you can see how you can change things up without necessarily spending more money. And then also I have this little, because I watched the one presentation from you guys, and I know a lot of you guys have china and things like that that might not sell too good anymore, but you can also make them something for a gift, you know. In this case, this used to belong to my husband's great grandmother, and I just had the one. This is the one thing that just came home to, and I thought, okay, well, it's just sitting there. What am I gonna do? It's so pretty that I don't really want to use it, right? Well, I decided I can use these little succulents, and these are real, and just have it as decor around the house. And I originally had wanted to use this for an Easter decoration, but I was gonna meet you guys today, so I figured I could just put it together. And these are succulents I already had in my backyard. When it comes to natural plants, greenery, of course you don't want to overdo the replanting of things, just because they do suffer from transplant shock. But I just wanted to show you there's a way you can make this an actual gift, you know. And maybe your granddaughter will appreciate a little bit more how beautiful and intricate the design of this little china set is, right? And then it's always easier for them to just get the one piece, and then they'll think, okay, well, I don't have to have the whole set, you know? And this is something that used to belong to my grandma or my great-great-grandmother or whatever. And the same with the plates. If you bake some cookies, you can grab those plates and use them and give them away. I can guarantee you that people will not throw away that, versus if you just give them away in just a plastic tray or something like that. So it's a really cute token for your family members to have. Is there any comments or anything like that?
I think everything looks really nice. I love the natural feeling, and I really like the pieces that you've bought.
Well, this is stuff I already had at home. I keep growing my decor, right? And I tend to, like I said, buy very neutral, classic pieces, so I don't find myself trying to get rid of it the following year. But then, like, again, let's say I remove the other stuff and I have this little snow globe that my husband loves. So maybe I can just like place over here. You see, let's move this orange and let's keep this little Santa right here. And look how cute that looks. And it just one thing, you know, and it just looks so festive. Little things that you find at home. Like I said, I went into the bedroom looking for my glasses, and then I saw this snow globe, and I was like, oh, I can use it tonight, you know, and I'm sure he's gonna love it because his mom sent it to us, and then it's really cute because it's has little music. So super Christmas, right? Well, if you want, now I can talk really quickly about the recycling of a candle.
Okay.
Well, we have this here. So as you saw this, I actually made these like 4 years ago. I was getting a little ambitious and I thought, oh, maybe I can put it all over my tree because I have an artificial tree and I was kind of missing the smell, right, of like Christmas and stuff. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll just go buy cinnamon. Poor me didn't know how expensive an actual stick can be. So I ended up with maybe 5-6 little bunches. And that's how they made it onto the little basket that I showed you earlier, just with the pine cones, right? So that's how I ended up basically like placing them, because again, I realized they were really expensive. So I had them like this. But now it's been a few years and I'm like, well, you know, I need to change this up a little bit. So this little bunch can be reused now with this candle. So, and again, the string can be reused. So now I thought, okay, why don't we do something different with this candle? That this is an all year round candle, but if you want to try something different, what I did was place cinnamon sticks like this, right? And it's a little tricky when you're doing it yourself. If you have an old candle that you're thinking, oh, well, maybe I can just try to, we're gonna wrap this around a couple of times. You might just think, oh, well, let's use hot glue and, you know, glue these things so you don't have to make it so difficult. And maybe I'm tying this little knot might be easier for you before doing it, before trying to. Give me a second, please. Just be careful when you're doing a hot glue gun because it gets really dangerous. This is actually a scar from hot glue. Sometimes I get in a hurry and that's when things like that happens. It was very painful. So again, grab my sticks my candle. Place them like this. And then, because when you're working by yourself, you need to become a little creative on how you can keep on doing this without needing so much help. So what I did was, I didn't really tie this tight, but just enough so I can start sticking more sticks in here. And then, okay, so now that it's getting a little more tighter, let's take this, I loosen it up a little bit. And this is because, again, I don't want to do anything permanent on this candle, because then whenever it's not, you know, Christmas season or whatever, I want to be able to go back to my plain old candle. And then just keep sticking these guys in there. And this is also a very big, thick candle. So it took, as you can see, quite a lot of cinnamon sticks in order to cover the whole thing. But you can also do it with greenery. It doesn't have to be this, so that's going to be less expensive. The cool thing about the cinnamon is that once the candle, and especially if it's a natural candle, starts warming up, there's going to be a very subtle scent of cinnamon. And then once you have your cinnamon like that, then finally, with the same string that I had from before, from 4 or 5 years ago, gonna make a little knot. It smells so pretty. And then I have this candle, and you can twist it a little bit so it's not like standing up, so it looks like you intentionally tried doing this, and then you can incorporate that into your tablescape. Just find a home, and then you have this natural looking candle right there. I don't know if you guys like it, but smells really.
I like that, Karla. And I wanted to tell you another little thing you could do with your orange that you put the cloves in. We used to, and this was like 60 years ago. You cover that after you've put the clove in it, you cover it with your powdered cinnamon.
Yeah.
And leave it in a bag for a couple of days, and it kind of preserves the orange, and then you've got the clove and the cinnamon and the orange smell all working together.
It does have cinnamon powder.
Oh, you already did that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because like you said, it helps preservation of it. So yeah, right there. I mean, I only did this yesterday, and like I said, I've never done it before, but I did my research, and that's how I ended up doing that. But there's tons of designs, right, where you can do spirals, you can do crosses, you can make it elaborate, but I was trying to make it as simple as possible to show that it doesn't need to be super elaborate, so it looks super pretty. And like, how long did that really took me? A couple of minutes. Well, maybe like 3 minutes, right? But then you have a whole new candle that the second that you're done with the season, you just remove the sticks, and you can, again, do bundles of sticks, cinnamon sticks, or you can just have them individually just sitting like this, and it gives a little bit, you know, of a cozy feeling to it.
It all kind of has that Pottery Barn look to it, Karla. If you, it seems like you like that.
And yes, but not everything is from Pottery Barn. You know, like I got these, what's it called? The chargers at Target. I got those at Target. I got these at Target. I got these votives. I think these were like $4.99 and $3.99. I got these at Home Goods, and I've used them so much. And again, they're so classic and, you know, neutral that I've used them in several locations. They don't take a lot of space to store, and like I just showed you, I've used it as a little bit of a candle votive, or I've used it as a little planter itself. And then, yeah, like things like this, you know, are just gifts or things that people had given me, or I had found around those discount stores. And, you know, you just never get tired of them when you keep changing them from place to place. Well, do you guys want me to go into the gift wrapping, or are there any questions about the tablescaping?
I just had a question, Karla,
Yeah.
about the slices of wood. Why do you call them chargers? What does that mean?
It's like a charger plate. So,
Did you say charter or charter?
oh, sorry.
Charger.
Bilingual accent that is hard to say it, but it's just the plate that goes underneath the actual dining plate.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. But those are actually they're called wood slices. You can just use them with the same concept as this, you know, which is just as a little bit of a centerpiece or whatever. But I like the look of that, and that's how I ended up doing it. But if I were to host 10 people, then I wouldn't have enough. So I would just most likely use these wood slices to display my bowl of salad or things like that, if it's going to be like a buffet style.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then, you know, let me just add the one extra thing here. Give me 1 second, just in case there's someone who it's more into the religious and not necessarily Santa vibe. I also have, well, my family's Catholic, so you can always add, you know, a nativity. A nativity, you know.
That's pretty.
That so it's so different. You see, it's it might depend what your home religion is, or it might be something where you might not feel very comfortable doing something like this when it's maybe a work what's it called, a co-worker dinner. You might want to use Santa instead, or you might not want to do Santa. You might not want to do anything with the religious, you know, part of it. But whichever way it is, again, there's nothing wrong with just trying different things. So I just wanted you to see it. And then I can remove some of this and go into the gift wrapping. If anyone else would like to make a comment or a contribution on ideas for other of your members to share.
Karla, another thing you've done that I like is how you've got the wreath up on your mirror.
Oh, yeah.
That's really creative and wouldn't be hard to do, I think.
Yeah. I got that hanger at Walmart for like $1.99, I think it was. So it's an easy way for you to do something different with your wreath.
Yeah.
That wreath actually, over the holidays, I have it on top of my bedroom, the bed. I have a display of picture frames around it, and then I have this little hook that I've used for seasonal decor, like little wreaths or whatever. So I had taken this again because I was going to host you guys, right? So I wanted to dress my fireplace a little bit more. And I had relocated that wreath that I had in the bedroom into this space. That way it's a lot easier when it comes to storing things, because then you don't need to have 5 wreaths, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm going to steal that idea.
Yeah.
Space is precious, I must say, when it comes to
It is.
yeah. So to not spend too much time clearing the table, I'm just gonna shift this a little bit with this. Because again, I'm gonna have my Christmas dinner with my husband, and probably I just wanna leave it, you know? So now I wanted to share, if it's possible, again, the screen so you guys can see part of the what I'm presenting for Christmas gift wrapping. Can I share my screen again, my desktop screen?
I think you should be able to because it's set up for anyone to share. I haven't changed that.
Give me 1 second. Ahora sí que no se ve acá, lo que estoy acá, no me mandes para acá.
Okay.
And you can see in the background, I have so many different projects. Like I have a piñata that I'm building out in my patio, so maybe you've seen it there too. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So now, the history of Christmas gifts. So not to get too far back, as everybody know, and depending on different cultures and traditions and religions or whatever, we go back to the 3 wise men bringing gifts to baby Jesus, right? When he was born. And basically, ever since then, to represent that same moment, basically people keep doing it, but sometimes they don't even know why they're exchanging gifts. And then when it comes to, like I said, different cultures, people in Europe might have done it because there was a legend of some witch that would go and give gifts to children and just come down the chimney. In this case was a lady and it was a witch, right? But then here in the US, you have the culture of Santa Claus doing that, St. Nicholas. So depending on where you're from and your traditions and culture, people do the exchange of gifts throughout different dates of December. As early as December 5th, celebrating St. Nicholas. And then let's say in Japan or the US, they do it on Christmas Eve, or in this case, where I'm originally from Mexico, we do it on the day of the Epiphany, January the 5th, going into the 6th, right? So it's just a little bit of history, but reality is that I would like to focus in actually an issue that we need to be aware of when it comes to exchanging gifts. And it's not so much as in like, it goes back to sustainability and trying to reduce and make the most out of everything. So in this case, I'm gonna have here my screen. It says, did you know that the United States produces 4.6 million pounds of wrapping paper each year, and 2.3 million pounds ends up in the trash. And then also, it goes back to, well, you can just recycle it, but reality is that not every paper is actually recyclable. And it's because it doesn't have the quality, the fiber in it for plants to try to recycle it. So I wanted to show you guys a few ways to help the environment and continue with this tradition as well. So there's a few things that you can do to find out if whatever paper you're buying is recyclable, such as the recyclable test. So I have here a little basket where, and I don't know, do you want me to switch my screen or?
Yeah, I mean,
We can see both screens, actually. If you put it on gallery, you can see both. I can.
Okay. Oh, but that's something that you would have to do it yourself, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, gallery.
Barbara, where is gallery?
Instead of the speaker, and let me see, instead of speaker view, it should be a gallery view.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's a gallery view.
I have speaker view only.
It's on the upper right.
Yeah.
Then if you hit speaker, it switches to gallery.
Oh, okay. Got it, I guess. Yeah.
Good. Okay, good.
You guys ready?
Yep.
So this is what you probably are familiar with and have seen because it's been such a popular type of paper, right? This is the foil paper gift wrapping. And this is something that it's been probably more coming out on stores, and you can see how it's actually made out of recyclable paper, right? Cardboard. So the test to know if that paper is recyclable or not, besides doing this little thing that we're about to do, is also making sure that it doesn't have glitter or it's not, you know, shiny, which in this case we already know offhand that this will not be recyclable, because in order for companies to be able to do this, they need to put a lot of additives that are not recyclable, and they have plastic and even have like the coloring, you know, the inks makes that lose quality for recycling. So, but in this case, since I didn't have anything else to show it, I just wanted to do the scrunch test. So they say that if you scrunch it in a tight ball and if it doesn't bounce back, you know, that should make it like recyclable. But in this case, well, we know it's foiled. So even though if it stays like this, because that element is, you know, the ink and the type of paper, this wouldn't be recyclable. I just wanted to show it to you versus this one that it does have ink, but it doesn't have the laminated look, as you can see. And then we do the scrunch test, and then, you know, it stays as a ball, and this makes it recyclable. But something a little bit more interesting on actually trying to support sustainability and on Christmas gift exchanging and stuff, I wanted to show you this other technique. Let me think here. Sustainable gift wrapping. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of the Japanese tradition furoshiki by any chance. Well, if you haven't, this dates back to the 700s. And it's basically using a piece of cloth, and I'm probably gonna, here. It's a piece of cloth that it can be reused for different things, but you can just wrap your present, carry it, you know, and it's just different, and it goes back to where it doesn't end up in the landfill. In this case, I wanted to add something natural, which is the cinnamon sticks and the pine cones. Well, the glitter is actually not a good thing. As I've been learning more and more about sustainability, I found out that glitter is made out of plastic particles, and it all ends up, you know, in the landfill at some point, and that's polluting the oceans. So from now on, I had been, and since a while ago, I mean, since I found out, I'm no longer buying things like this, but these I bought like 5 years ago, so I'm still, you know, using them here at home over the years and stuff. But this is basically how it would look. But I wanted to show you. Ahora si quieres, ponte de aquí, pero para abajo que no se vea.
Okay.
So, aquí.
Okay.
So, I wanted to show you something, and I actually had my husband try it. This is what he, because he was saying like, oh, you need to be super talented and creative in order for you to make it look pretty. And I'm like, well, why don't we actually, you know, do a test and see? And after I gave him, and I just showed him the one time, you guys, I was like, okay, this is how you do it. He watched it, and then he tried doing it himself. I thought it was really cute. And I mean, in his defense, he did had a couple of glasses of wine. He did this, but I mean, if he could do it with a glass or two of wine, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be able to do a much better job than that. But it goes back to where everything can be reused. So in this case, you know, he was so worried about it not looking pretty, but this is what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna use this natural greenery and add a little something here to make it look festive, you know? And then you can, if you want, in this case, add a pine cone. I do have handy, there's this floral wire that I love using. It's so easy and you don't have to complicate yourself with tying knots. So what I usually do is I just grab this little guy, I turn it around, and then you can just tie it here. And his so not good looking project all of a sudden takes a turn. And, you know, with a little bit of straightening out, you have a different presentation. So I just wanted you to see it. It's different, but we're gonna go into actually folding one ourselves so you can see how simple it is and how you can do it yourself at home. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the side. And I'm gonna bring thing very easy. And then again, when you undo it, look how easy this is. It's like untying. It's as easy as that, right? So right there, as you can see on the screen, it says quick tips. Make sure your cloth is square and use something that has a reversible pattern. So both sides, it looks about the same. And be creative with the added accessories, which is what we did here. Again, the bunches of cinnamon sticks that I had purchased 4 or 5 years ago, and the little bundles, I thought, okay, I could steal 1 or 2. And then when you gift it, also you can say educate or help bring awareness to whoever is receiving your gift, as in like, hey, you know, this is actually a furoshiki gift wrapping practice, and it's, you know, helps the environment. You can reuse it, and later you can use these cinnamon sticks, throw them in the stovetop with some water, cloves and cinnamon, and then you make it a natural, you know, how do you call it? Aromatizante, like for the smell. I lost it for a second. But you just, you know, share that with them, and then they're like, oh, okay, then it doesn't end up in the landfill. When, if it did, then at least is biodegradable. Okay, so going here, and this is just the most basic wrapping that you can think of, but I added, there's a link right there on the bottom, the www.invaluable.com blog. You can see more techniques. There's like 10 of them, and they're really cool. And then as you get more into it, you might appreciate and might not find so intimidating how to fold things out. So in this case, it's a squared figure. So what we're gonna do in our, when we fold this, just make sure the points, the extremes like this, so you can basically, right? You can put it in the center like that, so you know it's centered, okay? So what I'm gonna do is grab the ends and bring it inside, just because in this case, this is a fabric that I bought at Hobby Lobby for $5.99 or $4.99. And they're actually furoshiki sheets that are more like elaborated, and they have the inseams done and all that stuff. But since they're getting a little more and more popular, they're starting to get pricey, right? So this is the way for you to do it without breaking your bank, because some of those are like $20 or something like that. So this way we can do it at home. So you fold that in, bring it in, just basically as you would do a regular paper Christmas wrapping. Then you fold that in. And then as you see it, it's not like I need to tuck it in. I just leave it like that. And then that way it has this like finished look right here. And then it's just like a candy cane, you know? If you ever did this kind of like project for kids or whatever, it's the same concept. So we're gonna do a nut. You see? So then we tighten it and we do a second one. Right? And now you have this little bun. And either you can, if you like this look more rustic, I mean, you can cut these little pieces over here, but honestly, I don't mind them. I guess it's part of the style of things that I like that are very rustic. I like this look. So you can either kind of clean it out a little bit. You can leave it like this, or you can tuck it in, which is what my husband was trying to do on his. Didn't turn out exactly that way, but you just tuck it in, kind of hide it. And then you go creative with your accessories. In this case, I just had this, what's it called? Like a twine ribbon thing. And you can either put it like in here, find your way in, because there you go. So, and then you make a little bow, like if you're tying your shoe, right? And this is another way. You can add a name tag if you like, or you can add, again, a natural element. In this case, I had a little more leftover of this cedar. So I'm gonna do the same thing, you know, and I love it. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen that now. It's kind of trending to do all gifts look the same. Not that I'm a trend person, but it also looks really cool, and you just have something different. And again, reusable, and it's environmentally friendly. And just for some more facts, I want you to see here a few facts, you know. Oh, sorry. So according to Stanford University, if every family reused just 2 feet of holiday ribbon, the 38,000 miles of ribbon saved could wrap a bow around the entire planet. Or if every American family wrapped just 3 presents in reused materials, sorry, did I click on that? Sorry. It could save enough paper to cover 45,000 football fields. So I think it's something very interesting to know, and you know, not to kill anyone's holiday spirit. And if you already did some gift wrapping, you know, purchase at Costco, who has great deals, at least you have awareness now of what's going on with our planet, where we are with global warming, and not to make it a political statement or anything, but this is for sure the future of your grandchildren and you know, whoever is still here after we're no longer here per se. So it's like just for humanity itself. And now also having all the issues with China no longer taking so much waste, you know, from the US, you can have a little bit of help, you know, to eliminate waste as much as you can. Just because in the US alone, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's about 25% more of waste produced by Americans' households than there are in the rest of the world. So just a little bit of an awareness, a sustainable tip, which, like I said, the more you start doing it, the more you're gonna get, passionate about it, and you're gonna enjoy it. And this actually took less time than doing a full wrapping paper between the tape and the cutting and all that stuff. So it would also save you time, and it's another way for you to keep evolving and adjusting as we need to do in order to stay sustainable in this world. So that's it. I don't know if you like to make any comments or if you have any questions.
Yeah, any questions, anyone? I mean, this has been very, very interesting overview. And everything, I mean, it's a little of everything. I love that. And it's interesting too, because of all we never think about the sustainability issue with the Christmas paper and all the wrapping. And I have a daughter that has a master's in the environment. So I'm going to share this information with her. I think she'd be very interested.
Love it. Yeah. And it's all about, we're constantly learning, right? I mean, this is something that it's done in Asia, and reality is too that it hasn't been that long where this was actually something that the government started bringing back, because it's a very old tradition. They used it to carry the belongings of emperors back in the day, because this once you start looking into it, people in Asia, they don't just use it for gift wrapping. They also use it for, let's say they're going to transport something. If you're going to a potluck or something, you would be surprised, but people might carry their Tupperware in a wrap like this, and it goes back again to, there's other ways here in the US, like let's say this bag. You can see that I got this bag at Hobby Lobby like 4 years ago, when I think it was like the first year I moved here to the US. And you know how many times I use this bag to give things? And these are things that, okay, you will think, well, it's just the two of you and your husband. So I give it to him, and we're still in the house. So basically by the time he's done unwrapping things, I just grab the things and I put them away as well. But I invested a little bit more, but I know I've used this bag 10 times already, 10 times at least, because yeah, you have the limitation of the size sometimes. And there's different sizes of wraps that you can make. I mean, you might have an old tablecloth that is just sitting there, and you're like, well, I'm moving now to a retirement home. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this stuff. Should I just donate it? Or you can repurpose it, cut it yourself. Like I just went to Hobby Lobby and cut this, and I didn't have to sew the seams, all those imperfections make it also very perfect, I think, and we don't fall into that mentality and of consuming everything and everything needing to be so perfect. So yeah, this bag, I actually have a few things in there. They're very small, but I keep regifting it to my husband, and it never gets old. And the same with the bows. All those plastic bows are not very good for the environment. So these, I had made several of them throughout the years, and I keep saving them. You see, I have this little box here where a couple of days ago I gave my husband a gift, and I used this tissue paper to fold something in there and put it inside the bag. But after he was done, since I told you guys I'm doing a piñata, I was like, oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to use this paper for the piñata. So I folded it and I saved it, and I'm going to use it later today. But yeah, I had a few of these bows that I have used before. And depending on the size of my gifts, you know, I'll bring them out. And then sometimes I don't have the right size of the bow. It might be too big or too small. But just so you can see, in this case, this is the one present that I wrapped with that sustainable Christmas paper. And I had this old bow just sitting there. So it's not the right size, because if you flip it, then it doesn't make it. And you can see the glue from previous years. But nobody looks at it, right? They just see the top part and it looks really cute. So just a thing for you to have in mind, where if you invest a little bit more in bows, you can keep reusing them. And just make sure they're the wired ribbon, just because they're very kind. And as long as like you take them out and then you flatten them, that's how I store them, basically. I rip them off and then I keep them like this, and then I store them. It will save you time, money, and it will also save the planet at the same time. So kudos for, you know, for whatever little effort you can do, either if it's saving the one ribbon or, you know, saving the one bag, or doing whichever little thing. You don't have to do it all in order for it to contribute. But you can start with little things like that until you will become more and more passionate, and then you'll end up like maybe like me, you know, maybe in a few years from now, I'm going to be more crazy about it. But as it is now, this is where I am. So I just wanted to help bring awareness and share.
So how big was your piece of material, like 45 by 45 inches for all your presents? Or do you make your material a certain size compared to the size of your present?
No, like some that you will have others. Let's say this one for a second seemed that it was going to be too small, but by the time you fold it, you know, it doesn't really show. But I bought, for the purpose of this demonstration, about a yard of each, just because it makes it simpler. And I didn't go exactly by the measurements that you would find online, you know, but it's just as long as it looks square enough. And this is an average size.
So if you bought a yard, it'd be like 36 by 45. Did you make it square then before you wrapped?
No, I didn't. But you know, it more because depending on which folding technique you're using, you might need to be more on the exact square shape. But this is the basic one, so you don't really need it.
Make it square. Okay, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I had an idea that I read about last year that I've done, and it's one, you know, if you get a lot of glossy magazines or glossy catalogs and have these beautiful pictures maybe, and not a lot of writing, is that you can take those large pages, and I cut two, taped them together, and that became my wrapping paper. And it was really pretty because some of these things are like home decor that are glossy with pretty things. And my daughter was really surprised. She said, well, you know, I was running out of wrapping paper also, and I really didn't want to buy any.
Mm-hmm. And that's perfect. And congratulations. I love it.
I have to leave. I have to leave, so yeah.
Okay.
I gotta go.
Well, anyone else with any comments, questions? I mean, this has been great. I mean, you've really.
I really enjoyed it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I appreciate Karla's creativity.
Mm-hmm.
She's very clever.
And I really enjoyed, it was like everything, every topic you covered was something in it we could all use. So really, Karla, thank you so much for putting this together. We really appreciate it.
Maybe. And thank you to the person who was recording everything.
Oh,
you did a nice job of moving everything around. So we really were able to see. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
that helped a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she was here to help me clean my home since I'm trying to leave town. But I was like, Laura, I need some help, and she's always willing to jump in.
Well, it helped to have somebody else with the camera.
It really
I guess
did.
we should call it the camera. It's an iPad.
Yeah,
But yeah.
the camera.
It really did help.
The camera woman, not the cameraman.
Yes, exactly. Kudos for women. Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
and
this is
you know,
great.
Thank you.
if you guys ever need some help, because this is just something I do during the holidays. I always do things throughout the year, you know, like I just told you, I'm doing a piñata for parties. But yeah, if you ever need help with a specific thing, you know, you might not want the whole planning of it, but you want maybe just help with the dessert table or whatever that may be, just feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear back at some point. And if you don't mind helping me out with a review on Yelp, that would be great. Because this morning, actually, how funny it is. I had a
Oh, yeah,
coworker-
go ahead. Thanks.
a
Oh, you're so
coworker
sweet.
reached out to me saying that she had a contact with a
You
gal
could have had it on.
that Hispanic TV chain. I don't know if you know of Univision. You know, it's kind of like a Telemundo thing.
Yeah.
But they were looking for a Hispanic speaker to present some sort of tablescape. So, I mean, that might help grow my business. You know, the exposure and whatever you guys can help me with on reviews, either on Yelp or Thumbtack. I'll appreciate it very much.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again, Karla. Really appreciate.
It's very enjoyable. Very enjoyable.
I'm glad to hear that. You guys were so quiet during it, so I was getting a little nervous.
We were taking it all in.
Well, any feedback will be great. If I'm
All
going
right.
too far, if I'm, you know, going back to certain things, just let me know.
Great.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
See you.